Orlando Magic, NBA, basketball, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, NBA, Orlando Magic, Shaquille O'Neal.
What are you doing,
Penny
guy?
Hardaway. Dude, I found out that the algorithm that determines who finds our podcast picks up on the script from our pod so people can find us based on what they search. Okay. Orlando Magic, NBA, Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony,
Kim Kardashian, cute puppies, OnlyFans.
Welcome to Court Cousins. Two cousins sharing laughs and talking the team they love, the Orlando Magic. Let's get into it.
Welcome everybody to Court Cousins, episode 7. My name is Kyle. I'm joined, of course, by my co-host, my cousin Peach. We are recording this on Wednesday, November 23rd, one day before Turkey Day. And today we've got a great show, ladies and gentlemen. We're, of course, going to check in with each other through our ROLO Check In. We've got a social media roundup. Peach is going to tell us what he learned. We're going to go with a new segment, starter, backup, and bench. Then we have, of course, Magic the Card Gathering, as Jason will dive into his store of Magic cards. And we'll finish it off by deciding who's going to take home this month the Court Cousins Championship belt. And like we like to start every show, we care about how each other's doing. I'm a teacher. We do a lot of social, emotional learning in school, and it's good for adults too. But here on Court Cousins, we do it on the meter of a Robin Lopez. So, Peach, how are you doing, sir, for the ROLO Check-In?
I'm feeling pretty good, first off, because I'm actually eating Rolos during the ROLO Check-In here today. They're not an official sponsor, but that's how I like to get down. I love the creamy center of a Rolo, and I also love my ROLO Check-In from Cream City. Ooh. And decided to pick this one for two reasons. First of all, he's wearing the jersey of the Milwaukee Bucks, who just got done creaming us pretty badly. And the look on his face is kind of a holy crap, what the hell's going on here? And
he's a little dazed. Yeah,
that's how we're all feeling right now, is a little dazed. No matter how you feel about how the season's gone to this point, or will go going forward, right now we're all feeling a little Rolo right now. How are you feeling on the ROLO Check-In today? Obviously, you don't have any of these bad boys there, do you?
Oh, I wish that's my favorite candy, actually. I'm a big fan of caramel and chocolate. Give it to me, lather me. I don't care. I'll eat it. I'll eat it off of anything. I am, and that kind of, that goes into how I'm feeling today. I've got a reclined Chicago Bulls Rolo. And I noticed that in our games, Rolo does the same thing. He doesn't really like to sit on the bench. He likes to majestically recline. I mean, as if royalty. I think the only thing that's missing from this photograph, or when he's on the bench, is someone perhaps feeding grapes to him luxuriously. I feel like that's what he should be doing in this pose. He's loafing, he's lounging, he's reposing. And, I'm a teacher, so I'm on vacation, baby. I'm on turkey break right now. So I am lounging and loafing. I'll see if the lady will feed me some grapes later. It's going to be a good show, Peach.
Wow, what a charmed life. I can't believe you laughed at the idea that you had a better life than me.
Not true. It's all about your perspective, sir.
Let's see some social media check-ins. Let's see some social media roundup stuff and see how everyone else is feeling.
That's a good idea. So in our first segment, our social media roundup, we scour the internets for your interesting, your intriguing, or your hilarious tweets, twats, or posts. And today we have 4 wonderful posts. The first one is from Twitter. This is from Lewis at HoopsTalk13. And it is a little meme of 2 folks on a bus. One side of the bus is very bleak, Peach, and the other side is a nice sunshine-filled valley. And the person on the left in the downside is thinking, expecting we'd make the playoffs. And a person on the right is knowing rebuilds take a ton of patience. Lewis added, this personifies our Magic fam in one meme. So, Peach, we just had our ROLO check-in, but it's been a tough couple games. Which side of the bus are you on, my friend?
I'm on the side of the rebuild takes a ton of patience. You have to be on that side of the bus. I don't feel like anyone should have expected us to make the playoffs at the beginning. So if you're on that left side of the bus, you just aim too high. I mean, it's hard to watch your team lose this much, but you have to focus on the other stuff, and you've got to look on the bright side of life, people. I'm on that side. I feel like you're on this side as well.
Well, yeah, I try to be an optimist and also just a realist. I feel as though anyone coming in who's surprised by our 4-14 record wasn't really paying attention prior to that. I mean, we can't on one hand get pumped about the draft and then now be forlorn. It's just if we're pumped about the draft, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a long season, and that's totally fine. As we'll talk about today, we're seeing some signs here and there of things that we can talk about, things that we can enjoy. So I'm on the right side of the bus right now, looking up at the Sunshine Valley, but I don't know, check in with me in a couple months. We'll see what side of the bus I'm on. Now, the next post we have is from Instagram, which is the social media that Peach manages. Just as a FYI, ladies and gentlemen, you can reach out to us at any time at court_cousins on Instagram or Twitter. We just got onto some Facebook as well. But this post on Instagram is from Magic Player History. And Peach, since you had this conversation, why don't you explain to the people what's going on?
All right. So if you don't follow Magic Player History and you're a Magic fan, what the hell? Get on that. This guy puts up these great pictures of a player from the previous game and shows you they're moving up the all-time Orlando Magic list, no matter how big or small the jump. And I think they're awesome because I love stats and I love the Magic. So I like to watch this. So he put up this one the other day of Moritz Wagner, and it had a few things listed there. So I decided that I would try to interact a little bit and suggested that you forgot to include the German hammers in Orlando history. Got to imagine he's second to Franz at this point, but still, it feels like something. And then I say, waits for the bell from the truck. And then he replied with an actual bell. So I got my first bell.
Wow. Congrats, Peach.
I felt good.
Yeah. I'm proud of you, buddy.
But yeah, you guys all should be following this guy. You said you've talked to this guy before. He's from Australia.
Yeah, I had a cool interaction with him on the Sixth Man podcast Patreon. They do a monthly Zoom call for all their Patreon patrons. I suggest you support. They're awesome at what they do. And on there was the gentleman that runs Magic Player History. And he told, a little bit about himself, and he's a software engineer who has, this brilliant mind that he uses to create special algorithms and formulas to track Magic players and how they stack up in our historical context. And as you said, it can be a small jump or it can be a big one. He does them like after certain games. And it's just, thank you, sir, for your service to the Magic community. Much appreciated. Let's go on to the next one, Peach. This one is taken from Magic Nation on Facebook, one of the largest Magic communities on the interwebs, definitely on Facebook. And it is a link to an Orlando Magic Daily article. Shout out to Philip Rossman Reich, or Reich Rossman. I always get it confused. My bad, Phil. You're the man. And this article was titled Orlando Magic Players Giving Better Injury Updates Than the Team. This all sparked a post from Michael Carter Williams on, I believe, Discord, talking in a private Discord on the return of Jonathan Isaac and hinting that it would be sometime in January is what internally everyone is expecting, which I think is all us Magic fans are asking for. Just a vague timeline. Okay. You don't need to tell me or promise me. I'm not 12, although we do have a lot of 12-year-old fans. So shout out to 12-year-old fans. That's when a lot of us become fans. But you're not going to crush my heart if instead of January, he comes back in February. Or if January 1, he's not there and he's back January 15th. I get it. And I think most humans do. I think that we've taken this a little too far with the no info thing, where it's kind of verging on, I don't want to say disrespectful. Maybe that's a little strong, but certainly inconsiderate. How about? How are you feeling about the way our team handles that?
Super polite about that.
Okay. Well, you know, I'm a nice guy, Pish.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe I'm not, but it's angering that we have no idea, right? Like, why is the team being so secretive about it? Like, it's not. I mean, I get that it's people's medical information, but it's not something serious that needs to be kept a secret. You know what I mean? I could see times where you might want to do this kind of stuff. This doesn't seem like one of those times. We're just looking for a timetable. Give us something. Because guess what? We'd all be super quiet right now if we heard late December for Fultz and January for Isaac. We'd just be quiet about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be a big deal. It wouldn't be a story. So just do that. That's totally fine. Then in December and January, we'll start to be like, oh, so are they coming in soon or what? All we're hearing right now is coming from the players, because I think they're getting tired of being quiet about it too. They're asked about it constantly. Yeah. And, you know, it's like, you don't really want to lie to people if it's not necessary, and it's seeming not necessary. So I think as time goes on, either the players are going to keep saying stuff, or the team is finally going to be forced into saying something. So either way, it's good. Keep it going.
Yeah. That's an interesting point, Piece. They do create this situation that didn't need to be, because they're creating secrets.
Right.
You know, anytime you create a secret, it's just going to come out and someone's going to get hurt. Something's going to happen. They're trying to avoid a situation, I guess, of hurting fans' feelings, and in the process are hurting both players and fans alike. It's this odd situation. Point well taken, Peach. Now, this one doesn't necessarily, this is something. This one doesn't necessarily have to do on the surface with Orlando Magic, because it is a GIF of the outbreak of Isaiah Stewart and his outburst. That's the word I was looking for, as he just kind of seemingly lost self-control and ran all over the court after he was struck in the face, seemingly accidentally, maybe purposely, by LeBron James. Regardless, it was an out of control reaction. Mm-hmm. How this applies to us is because on Twitter, XNO at Keen No Logs, I don't exactly know what that handle means. I hope I pronounced it right. He wrote with that GIF of Isaiah Stewart bowling over his own teammates trying to get to LeBron James, me going back in time to try and stop Rob Hennigan from drafting Mario Hezonja #5 while Devin Booker is still on the board. That's a deep cut, Pish. How are you feeling after that?
I mean, I love this one. I mean, I can't believe, even when I saw this, it reminded me all over again, because this is one of those things you like to put out of your memory. How did they draft this guy at 5? At 5, like we have had a lot of fifth overall picks that are all much better than Mario was. So yeah, I love this one, and I liked this meme. The internet took this situation and blew it out of the water almost as much as they did Kevin Durant's ashy leg, but that's a different story. Well, I love it when the internet takes this stuff and makes it something else. I saw a lot of good ones where the Stone Cold glass broke and he's coming through the crowd, and I don't understand why this guy couldn't just calm down enough at that point. He made such a spectacle of himself. Lucky to only get 2 games suspension, really.
I think he needs more Rolo check-ins, honestly. I think if he had a little bit more social emotional, control and awareness, some more Rolo check-ins, Isaiah Stewart would have been. We should have him on the show.
We should check in on this guy before he returns to the lineup for sure.
I agree. And for Mario, man, I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I remember in the summer league, there was an alley-oop from, I think, AG, Aaron Gordon, to Mario. And it was just, you could tell these were guys, 2 hyper athletes. But I don't know what happened to Mario Hezonja. He just never panned out. Clearly.
I mean, guys like Mario and Fran Vasquez from the past, I've always been nervous when the Magic draft a European white guy, which is why I wasn't high on the Franz pick at first. But as you can see, I'm wearing his jersey, so I've come around. But that's the reason that you get a little bit of that PTSD or PTSD. Yeah,
absolutely.
When it comes to those situations, it's definitely, you're like, oh, Mario Hezonja, we had that guy already. So
yeah.
I don't remember, people are different, even though they have similar backgrounds. So I learned something.
I think too, the European players get the caliber is increasing. The international player, just period, is getting much better. So
For sure.
when we took Mario, we took Fran, the talent wasn't the same, and it was really a head scratcher, but it was confusing to me then. And some things are confusing to me now, Peach. So maybe you can help clear them up in our next segment, What I Learned. And in this segment, ladies and gentlemen, this is Peach's rundown of the games that were, the games that happened from our previous episode and what went down. Peach, what did you learn?
School's in session, everybody. Take your seats. If you got something to chime in on, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll get you in. So the first game was the Nets. We lost 123-90. The Nets are deep as hell, folks. I did not realize that Aldridge had not retired. Apparently he's back, and he's very good.
And he came back. Yeah.
This team is so deep they can be missing two of the best all-time players, as they will later in this What I Learned, and still put out just star caliber players and crush it out of the park. Even though they have the best bench, though, they still have the worst unis in the league. I don't understand why they're basic white and black. It makes me feel like I'm watching TV in the 60s. Put some color on those things.
What's wrong with this thing?
And also, don't have a logo. Don't be the Nets and have a logo with no net. Kids.
Fair point. Fair point.
All right. So then the Wizards, or the Bullets, as I like to call them, or maybe someday they'll become the Wizlets, or maybe the Buzzards. I don't know. But we lost that game 104-92. What is a Spencer Dinwiddie? I had to do some Googling on that one. Wasn't sure what he was about. Conversely, a lot of people have searched who the hell is Franz Wagner when they play us. And in this game, I want to know, where is Franz Wagner, because he kind of disappeared here for a couple of games. He did this during this stretch where it was like, where's he at? What's going on? Our team's keen on him, or is he not being as aggressive? What's going on? Bench points. We had 23 bench points in that game. And in a game that we were kind of in-ish, we could have used some bench scoring if we would have had some. It could have been a different outcome. But that takes me into the Hawks game on November 15th, which we lost 129-111. The Hawks had 4 guys go for 20 points, which is amazing. Kudos to them. Franz was back in this game, though, as he got 19 points. And the bench, was back, as 43 points off this bench, with Ross contributing 19 points. And you know what? We lost this game, but scoring 111 against a team the Hawks caliber, I felt like it was not a complete and total loss. I saw a lot of good things. And when we lose games that we can still score in the hundreds, I just like what I'm seeing. I want to see the ball going through the hoop more. Then it was on to the Knicks on November 17th, the 104-98 win. Go ahead and hit that bing bong bell for this one. Julius Randle thinks he's a 3-point shooter now. I would argue that after he went, I think 4 for 10 from the 3-point line, that he may or may not be. But overall, the Knicks went 16 for 49 from deep, which is part of the reason that they weren't putting up as many points as they did in the first matchup they had with us. And Magic.
You mean when they shot historically amazingly from 3? That game?
Historically amazing. Yes, that was the only way that they could beat us, is what I'm saying. They had to shoot historically good. All the Magic starters were in double figures in this one, and Ross had 19 points and led all scorers off the bench, which is great. Second game of 19 for Ross, and I've been critical of him in the past, but he played pretty well during this stretch of games. Then it was the Nets on November 19th, a 115-113 loss. There was no KD, but there was KL.
Yes.
Kyle was at this game, so I want to get your thoughts on this in a second. But my thoughts were that Aldridge is now Tim Duncan level good. Patty Mills has no business being on this team. I don't know how he should be a starter somewhere, but he's not.
Yeah.
And damn, Harden is just pissing me off. I do not like watching this guy. He shot 7 of 25 from the field, but hits 19 of 20 free throws. So he ends up with 36 points. He's just not a fun player for me to watch. He's great on a step back, but other than that, he's only looking for contact. He's only driving and going for contact. The Magic had a record level amount of fouls in this game, despite taking that approach where they wanted to back off and let Harden come in and let him go. They weren't trying to get into that contact, but the refs were like, nope, we're used to seeing contact, so we're calling it. Suggs had 17 first quarter points in this game.
Oh my God.
They had 4 the rest of the game.
I was so live when I think he hit 3 threes or in that first quarter. amped up. I had an 8-year-old shouting at me, Magic are trash. I was putting them back. So I'm like, no, we're not. We're gonna go the champion. Let's go, Suggs. But it didn't end up for us. Didn't end up going down that way, Peach.
But again, all our starters were in double figures. We had 17 points from Okeke and 15 from Ross off the bench, which you love to see. And again, 113 points. We only lose by 2 to the Nets. Now, granted, they're missing KD. They're missing Kyrie in this game, obviously. But they're still a very good team. So watch out for the Nets out of the East. They're nice. Speaking of nice teams in the East, then we got to go play the Bucks back-to-back. And on November 20th, which is a game that it's probably okay for you to remember, it was 117 to 108 was the final. The bench was all over this game with a great comeback. And I love that Mosley stayed with the bench during the comeback. He didn't put the starters back out there to try to finish off. And he made the Bucks starters come back out to try to work hard to get it. Rolo had some big minutes, and I love the stuff he did. He was rebounding the ball, and it was good to see him back in the game. I'd like to see more from him in the future. And then, of course, there was the Bucks game the other night, November 22nd, the 123 to 92, which looks kind of respectable compared to the way this thing felt. This one is the massacre, the Milwaukee massacre, and it was not good. And I don't watch it. There really isn't much to see here. The bench didn't play well. The starters didn't play well. You know what? Mama said there'd be days like this, and that was just one of those days. I got to have a short memory and get going here. But my overall thought from what I learned from all the games is we are only going to go as far as the bench takes us. Our starters are very good. They can put up some decent minutes, but we need Ross. We need Okeke. We need Harris when he comes back. We need those guys contributing to win games. So if we're going to get W's, we need more from the bench.
I love that. I got to go back. I got a joke that encapsulates the Milwaukee Bucks experience. Are you ready for it, Peach?
I'm always ready for a good joke.
Okay. What do you call a deer with no eyes? No idea. What do you call, Peach, a deer with no eyes and no legs? Still no idea. Peach, what do you call a deer with no eyes, no legs, and no testicles? And I know a deer is not a buck and it doesn't have testicles already, but just go with the joke. What do you call a deer with no eyes, no legs, and no testicles? Still no fucking idea, Peach. And we had no idea how to stop the Bucks. And it was a wake-up call that we still have a long way to go in this rebuild, ladies and gentlemen.
For sure. I mean, in that first Bucks game, which we actually made a nice bench comeback to make it interesting.
Right.
I mean, you had Giannis going for 32 and 20 boards. You had Portis going for 24 and 15. Wouldn't it be nice to have a couple big men that could put up numbers like that?
I thought we did, though. I think we do. I thought Wendell Carter Jr. has been our most consistent player, and Mo can put it up. I just think that we needed Rolo earlier in that second game. It's weird to say that, but in what he does, he's a lane clogger. So it doesn't really. Yeah. What did I do?
Well, you can't speak too loudly when Giannis is shooting free throws. You got to give him the space. That's what we learned from Rolo. But I liked him out there. I liked him pointing guys around. He felt like a leader out there. It was almost like having a coach on the floor. Yeah, he's a little bit slower and he's not as good as he used to be. But
now you're the one being generous. You're the one being generous now. He's a cone out there. But the point being, we needed him more than Moritz's style in that game. And I think Mosley, we could have gone to Rolo a little bit earlier. I'm not saying it would have turned the game around, but I just feel like it was good to clog up the lane and not have Giannis get all those easy looks.
Conversely, if you're looking for a bright spot in that massacre, Moritz led us in scoring with 18 points. So that's how you know it was a weird game.
Let's get on to our next segment. I want to put that game behind us. Our next segment is a new one, folks. Let us know how you feel about this in the comments. It's our own version of Marry, Cuddle, Kill. We're going with starter, backup, and bench to describe what we like most, moderately, and not at all. So I'm going to present you with a situation and 3 options, and you tell me, Peach, what's your starter, what's your backup, and what's your bench? The first one, imagine you are Jamal Mosley. And you're having a Mosley moment here. You get the injury report, and it has had for a couple games, both Cole Anthony and Gary Harris on the injury report. with our current roster, who do you start in the second guard position next to Suggs? Hampton, Ross, or Michael Mulder?
Yeah, this is a pretty true to life thing that just happened. I'm going to start Hampton. I'm leaving Ross as the backup, and I'm going bench on Mulder. I feel like this kind of speaks for itself. I want to see Hampton just get a shot at starter, and this seemed like a good opportunity when you have two key guards out. Ross is more comfortable being the backup, so let him stay there. And I guess maybe they did this to get Mulder some more minutes and see what he can bring to the table. But I feel like this guy is meant to be a bench and a reserve, and that's really where he needs to be. It's no offense to him. I just feel like I know what he is, and I don't know what Hampton is, so I want him to get the minutes and see what he can do.
I think I agree with you there. I think I would do the same. Starter, Hampton, Ross would be my backup, and Mulder to the bench in that order. And this is what Magic Twitter sphere was kind of talking about, that why aren't we starting Hampton? This is the perfect opportunity to get him some minutes. Everyone has been screaming for some more minutes just to see what we have, because he's one of the guys we got to figure out here. And when we have an opportunity, we don't put him in. Some of the theories about why we were doing this is saying, well, the old Steve Clifford mentality, he liked to keep guys in their role. So if someone got injured, he would plug that injured spot and keep the roles intact. So, even if one of our guards got injured last year, he wouldn't put T. Ross into the starting lineup. He would keep him as our sixth man coming off the bench as a scorer. Sure. And I get that. But then my next query to you would be, so we already just see RJ Hampton as a bench guy? We've already decided that then. If Mosley is trying to continue to have his role off the bench, that's just what he's going to be. And I mean, I understand that. I kind of feel like that's maybe where he'll end up. But the guy is so young, right, that don't you want to get him in there and see? And also, he seems like when we got a lot of young guys, he seems like he has a psyche that needs to be encouraged. And so I feel like rewarding him with that minutes would have been a great confidence boost for a young guy who might need it.
Yes, I think that is a great point to go out on this one.
The next starter backup bench we have was provided by the Orlando Magic themselves, Peach. They have been asking us Magic fans online, there's a poll going around, what is your favorite all-time Magic logo? So, Peach, starter, backup, and bench, the Magic logos, 89, 2000, and 2010.
There's no doubt about this bad boy right here being in my starting lineup for your Orlando Magic. And on the bench, I'm going with the 2000 version of that. I love that it has the old kind of word style, but incorporates that new, I guess they call it the Comet Ball. I don't like the font of the current Magic logo. I'm not wild about the Magic. I don't like there's something about it just has always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So that one's on my bench for sure. Just the order that they're sitting in on that graphic is the way I feel about it. You?
This is not going to be good for pod listeners here, but I go the same way. I think what I figured out is I just love the accent of the star in the word. I think that's one of my favorite things about the logo. The A, instead of the A, you have the star there. That got taken out in the most recent iteration, so I don't like it. I've heard the most recent iteration is a little too mechanical for people. It kind of looks just a little too squared off. But, I'm not crazy actually about the oldest font, the original font. I could, as long as you keep that A as a star, I could be willing to see some different fonts. But I do prefer the old school basketball trailing like a comet. I don't like that they made it to look too genuinely like a comet or a shooting star or whatever that's supposed to be. I'm not an astrophysicist. Don't quote me on it. But that's how I'm feeling. As long as you got that star as an A, I'll enjoy it. So
yeah, I think the star over the I in the 2000 logo is a little too big if I got to get nitpicky.
Okay. Get
but,
nitpicky.
I mean, that's what they're asking us to do. So
exactly.
I'm just saying. But we all love the original word. And look, there's a lot of good stuff about our logos. I'm not crapping on any of them. But, if I'm asked to give my opinion as the Magic have asked, I got to give it to them.
Yeah. I'm least enthusiastic to buy these jerseys, even though I continue to do so because of this, because of this font.
Well, the white one from the 2000 era wasn't very funny.
That's true. That's true. That one was bad. All right. So next, starter, backup, or bench piece. You may have some basketball friends that might come up to you and they might say, Peach, we know you love the Magic. Why are they stinking so badly? Why are they doing so poorly? So, Peach, our team trait that is most contributing to our losing right now, is it our inexperience, our offense, or our defense?
Well, the point of starter, backup, bench is to work with the 3 words given. So I'm going to do that because I think the thing might actually be not one of these 3 things, but got to work within the parameters of the segment. I'm going to go with inexperience as the starter. I'm going to go with offense as the backup and defense on the bench here because our defense is pretty good. We can do some things on defense that are impressive to me. And I think that's how we're staying in some games right now. We're frustrating good teams and making some noise. Our offense goes to sleep from time to time. And just, we seem to not have anybody out there that wants the ball or wants to score. I'm like, oh, where are we going to get points right now with this lineup on the floor? But part of that is mostly inexperience. We're not sure who's doing what. The team leaders from the younger guys haven't quite risen yet. You see flashes of it, but I feel like after a season of this, some of those turnovers and mistakes that you're seeing the young guys make, there'll be less of that. So I feel like with a year of seasoning on all of the current roster, there'd be more winning.
I agree. I'm just going to flip a couple. I would say the trait that's contributing most to our losing is our offense right now. It just seems stagnant. I would put our backup, my backup for this would be our inexperience. And on my bench for the trait I think is least contributing is our defense. Now, I'm not going to let our defense get off on the hook because in a lot of our defensive categories, for example, our opponent's field goal percentage, our opponent's turnover percentage, our defensive rebounding, our free throws to field goal attempts ratio, those are all in the bottom 10. A couple of them are in the bottom 5 of the NBA. So I know we have some great on-ball defenders. Like when I see Jalen Suggs, I'm like, oh, that guy, he's getting into his opponent. He is playing some great on-ball defense. When I see Mo Bamba get up and make those blocks, okay, that's some great team defense. He's coming over from the weak side, making a block, something like that. But clearly, in the aggregate, altogether, we're not playing very well. And again, I think maybe that gets to your point. Your starter was the inexperience, and I think that's probably a big factor. Next one, ladies and gentlemen, and Peach. The likely outcome of this season. Are we a play-in? Are we a bottom feeder? Or are we last place in the NBA? What's your starter, backup, and bench for this, Peach?
Well, my starter is got to be bottom feeder. And backup has got to be last place in the NBA. And then play-in is on the bench. It just is. I just feel like I don't feel like we're the worst team in the NBA. I really don't.
Okay.
But I just feel stronger that we're going to be closer to that than the play-in the NBA. It's a small margin, but I'm given 3 parameters and I have to do this.
I don't like to do this, but I think I would have to agree. My starter, my most likely outcome is that we will be a bottom feeder. It seems like the Houston Rockets are playing even more terrible basketball than we. And I think they're going to be in last place. We'll see. Maybe some injuries to some other squads might make that. I think that last place is, though, a potential outcome, for us. So that would probably be my backup. And my bench is the play-in tournament. I don't like saying that. I like keeping hope. but it's just really tough to say that we're going to get anywhere near that 10th spot. I'm bringing up the standings right now. In our conference, in the Eastern Conference, we are, as you might predict, in last place. We are a half game behind Detroit. We're 3.5 games behind Indiana. To get to the play-in, we're 5 games back on Cleveland, which is crazy to say, but Cleveland's been playing some good basketball, some decent basketball, but they're now dealing with some injuries. So, behind Cleveland is Atlanta, a really good team, although they've been playing like crap on the road. Toronto, Indiana. I mean, those are all teams that have so much more experience, honestly, so much more talent than we do right now with all of our injuries. I just can't see going any other way on this starter, backup, and bench. Now, this has been a topic of conversation, is our vets and who's coming, who's going, who's having an impact, who's not. So I ask you, Pish, most impactful veteran, who's your starter, backup, and bench between Terrence Ross, Gary Harris, and Robin Lopez?
Well, it's most impactful. It's not who's doing the best job. So I'm going with who's most impactful. And it's my starter's got to be T. Ross, ironically, because he never starts. Backup, I going with Rolo. And then on the bench, I'm going with Harris. Harris has kind of been in my doghouse for a while. I don't know what he does. I'm not like encouraged by his play, especially when I look at how much money he makes and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't seem worth it to me, but I don't know. Ross is at least coming in and scoring points once in a while. He does have a habit of disappearing, but when he's on and he's on fire doing his torch thing, he adds something to the team. And as I said to you at one point during this week, I think it's rubbing off on some of the players like Suggs, who scores 17 points in a quarter, or Franz, who disappears for a couple games and then comes back and drops 19. I don't know if I like the guys getting this lesson from him, but he's definitely being the most impactful and showing them that they can score in bunches. I just wish they'd take that and apply it to all 4 quarters. And I like what I see from Rolo as the guy that's laying on the bench. And when he comes in, he's kind of leading stuff. He's just not getting enough minutes, really. But I still putting him over Harris as a way of being like, do something, Harris. I want to poke him with a stick like that meme.
I don't know that meme, but that sounds horrible. I'm going to take this in a different direction because we've been agreeing for this whole segment and I hate it. So I am going to say most impactful veteran to my Orlando Magic experience. And I'm going to put Rolo as my starter because the Rolo check-in has become a part of my life. And if it weren't for that man in his many forms, I would not be in a better mental health position. So Rolo, thank you for being my starter.
You did most impactful vet to you.
Yes. I just changed it up completely. Thank you, sir. Creamy center. My backup would be Gary Harris, simply because he gave us the savage moment when he had his first interview, and that was hilarious, and it created a lot of memes and a lot of hilarity for me. And now his crappy play is creating a lot of discussion, and it's interesting to me. So thank you, Gary Harris, for that. And my bench would be Terrence Ross. He's taking away from my Magic happiness. He's having the most negative impact of all 3 of these players because I just had such high hopes for Terrence Ross. Do you remember back to our first public episode 3, when we did our first Court Cousins Championship Challenge? That's a lot to say, all back-to-back Court Cousins Championship Challenge. And I set the wager of Terrence Ross to average over 18 points, I think, in the first 4 or 5 games, whatever it was. I had high expectations of Terrence Ross. I thought he was going to come out and assert himself as the lead scorer on this team. And that just has been so far from the fact. So I'm sending you, T. Ross, the Human Torch, to light up the end of the bench.
That's on you for putting those expectations on him. But if you want to still send him to the bench for it, I'm fine with it.
This is true. Well, I made it all about me, Pish. It's all about me.
You did. I like what you did there.
Yeah. Well, I need happiness in my life. And sometimes in the Northeast, we have daylight savings time. Happiness might be hard to come by. That's why there's vitamin D.
Oh,
yeah. It helps you out when there's no sunshine to make you happy. And also, you can mess with your girlfriend by saying, hey, babe, want some D? And then after she slaps you, you could say, no, I was worried about your health with some vitamin D. Then she'll feel bad and maybe cook you dinner. Vitamin D. I think my girl would just slap me. I think she'd forego the dinner. I don't think that would work.
Well played.
And now, Peach, it is time for the much acclaimed segment where it's been getting 5-star reviews and 2 thumbs up everywhere you look. Magic the Card Gathering. This is when Jason reaches into his treasure trove of magic cards to tell some tales about our favorite franchise, the Orlando Magic. Peach, take it away.
I be digging into the treasure trove. Here it is right here. It's a binder.
That's anticlimactic, dude. It's gotta be something.
Everyone was picturing a nice treasure chest that which I would keep them in if I had one. So, someone wants to give me one.
Christmas is coming.
Ooh, Santa, I've been a good boy. All right. Well, we've got our regular 5 categories of fun here today. We're going to start it out with background crashers. Right here, I've got a card of Mr. Brian Shaw. Ooh. And as you can see, crashing the card here. Oh, that's Greg Anthony. That would be father of Cole Anthony, making his appearance on an Orlando Magic card right there. Shaw had 3.5 seasons with Orlando, most notably the 95 finals run. He had 10 threes in those 4 games that we got swept in, by the way. So he was balling. And so Greg Anthony is obviously Cole's dad, and he's an analyst on TV. And he's also an analyst in NBA 2K22, which is pretty fun because if you're playing and he's actually doing a Cole Anthony game, he has a lot of little insights about Cole as a player. They actually reference him being his father, and it's pretty fun. So I'm sure Magic fans should try to check out a game where Greg's calling it. It's pretty fun.
That's cool. I recently read an article that was posted around the draft about Cole and his family. We saw his mother sitting sideline, and Cole and his mother and Greg are divorced. His mother's a really well-known attorney and writer too. I mean, she's super successful in her own right. And Greg, the relationship that he had with Cole was very much of, a mentor and pushing Cole back and forth. But Cole was always hyper competitive. He asked his dad, when was the first time you dunked, Dad? And he said 9th grade. So Cole dunked in 8th. And that was just kind of the way that Greg described his son to the reporter as, he just keeps going.
All right. Next up, we got rookies. And right here, I've got Mr. Elfrid Payton on the rookie card. And looks like he's doing a staged dunk. That was in a real game. From Louisiana Lafayette. He was drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers, actually, 10th overall in the 2014 draft. He was then traded that day to Orlando for Dario Saric and a 2nd rounder, which became Willie Hernan Gomez, and a 2018 1st rounder, which became Landry Shamet. And now Elfrid and Shamet are teammates on the Suns. So I feel like we got the short end of that deal, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
But I remember really liking Elfrid. He played a lot with the Knicks the last couple of years, but now is kind of just hanging out on the Suns bench. I really thought he was going to be something. He had a lot of triple doubles at first, and it seemed like he was going to be a guy who could do everything. And I mean, you watched the team a lot during this time, so maybe you can speak a little bit.
I mean, he just kind of looked like he was going to be that like Russell Westbrook kind of guy, triple double machine. Maybe he wasn't going to fill it up with points all the time, but you just loved what you saw. You thought his defense was going to be there, and he was a good defender. It's just he never really seemed to make that leap after that, 2nd, 3rd year. You just kind of plateaued, and you're like, dang, man. I was rooting for him, but it didn't work out. That's for sure.
I mean, player comparisons are tough to make. When you hear about him after the fact, you could laugh and be like, holy crap, that's funny. But like when you hear him at the time, there's a reason that you try to compare players to other ones, because you think this is what their style is. I mean, let's not forget that Morrison from Gonzaga was compared to Larry Bird. So the Bobcats were like, give me that. And that wasn't right either. So, I mean, but there's a reason why they do those comparisons. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't.
They always struggle to compare white players though. Cause it's like, I feel like they always just compare white players to other white players. They're just like, ooh, I mean, it's like people can't compare a dude if they don't look like similar. That boggles my mind, but Morrison as Larry Bird.
That's a diversity issue.
Point in case. Case in point.
All right.
What's next, Bish?
Next up, we've got he played in Orlando, and I've got this card here of Mr. Mark Price. Mark Price was a 4-time All-Star with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He had an 11-year career, and he ended it in Orlando. He played 63 games in his final season. Mark Price was a victim of the young Michael Jordan stopping Cavs teams that were very good with Brad Daugherty, and that he could have done more, but he had a nice career, a pretty great player. And I know in the past, in this he played in Orlando segment, we have had coaches, former NBA coaches or college coaches. Mark Price currently coach at the University of Charlotte. So another coach for you.
So the legend continues.
Next up, we've got who the hell is that? And I submit to thee, Shammond Williams. Shammond, probably most known for having the first name Shammond. Shammond Williams played with the Magic 37 games in 03-04. He was signed as a free agent, but after just those 37 games, he was traded to the New Orleans Hornets for a guy we just had to have named Sean Rooks. He had an 8-year career that was not very memorable. And since we're talking coaches, he's an assistant coach at Old Dominion.
Good on you, Shammond.
Hey. And then lastly, we have our stat of the week. Here's a guy that probably has not gotten enough run on the show. This one is shiny. This is a prism, baby. This one's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Nikola Vucevic was a stat stuffer for the Orlando Magic, all-time leader in 2-point field goals, and I believe 4 or 5 different categories. But I want to talk about the category that he's second all-time in, and that's rebounding. This guy rebounded the crap out of the ball. And since the Magic have gotten rid of him, I have not quite seen that rebounding ferocity that I need. I need Mo Bamba and I need Wendell Carter to get on the boards and get into rebounds, because I am all about the rebounds. And right now there's a lot of shooting and then running back the other way. There's not even anybody inside the 3-point line sometime when we shoot. I missed when Vooch was there because there was always a chance of getting a second chance point. And I saw Rolo do it a couple times the other night, and it got me very excited, more excited than someone should when your team's getting blown out by the Bucks. But Vooch was a great player, arguably one of the better players in Magic history. He's coming off a little bit of a COVID scare. Hopefully he returns soon, and we wish him all the best. I know you're a big fan of Vooch. Speak on him.
Vooch, I mean, he was formative in my college years. Thank you, Vooch. I appreciate you. And I love the little Piche rant there on the rebounds. It sounds a lot like a caller that we had recently, an elderly fellow.
An old man, his porch, and some words of wisdom.
You kids, you don't know anything. With your power forward nowadays, is a stretch 4, shooting a 3-pointer. Big men belong inside, grabbing boards, throwing bows, and scoring power dunks. Like Horace Grant, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley. They were men's men. They were power forwards.
We are going into our final segment of today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. We always finish out with our Court Cousins Championship. In this segment, we're going to give 2 wagers to each other to decide who becomes that month's Court Cousins champion to rule the belt. And not too long ago, Piche came to coronate our first Court Cousins champion.
And now the very first Court Cousins championship is awarded to Kyle. Over the first 2 weeks of the Court Cousins Championship, you had more things right than I, and thus the belt is yours.
do you? I can't put it on myself. Can you put it on without it looking slightly homoerotic?
It looks good over that jersey. I'm not
It feels so good. Mama, I made it. Yes.
Wizard, what do you think? Are you going to be able to hang with this guy in this trophy? Are you going to keep an eye on it?
Yeah, I love him. He's awesome. He's the best. He always shits on you, Pish.
All right, Wizard, you and I aren't friends anymore. I'm going over here.
All right. So as you saw, I'm sorry, Pish. I'm rocking the belt right now. You've got to take it from me. And it's not looking good. Just as a refresher to what went down, we had 4 wagers on last episode. They were for more fouls, over under 6.5. I won with the under. RJ Hampton's minutes per game, at over under 18.5. Peace, you won that one with the over. Nice job. 20-point games for Jalen Suggs. Unfortunately, I did take the under of 1.5, and Jalen only had that one there.
The one you were at.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Hey, there you go. And then Cole Anthony's rebounds to be over under 6.5. Peash, I love the energy. You took the over, but unfortunately with the injury, he only got 6 in the games he played. So that's where we ended. I am up 3. Peash has 1 as we go into our second episode of the month, our final episode. Peash, you need to sweep, I think? You need to get all 4 of these or
to take the belt, yes, because a tie does nothing for me.
Okay. All right. Well, hey man, I'm hoping I'm pulling for you. I hope you're hot, but I know you're not. So I'm gonna win the belt. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. I love you, man. I love you. Okay. I'm sorry. That was too much trash talk. Just be humble. Be a humble champion. What is all this braggadocio? Get up.
Why are you coming at me like Isaiah Stewart, bro?
I'll get you through this screen. No one can hold me back. I don't doubt him, dude. Isaiah Stewart could get you through the internet. Be careful, folks.
Yeah, I'll take back what I just said. I don't want to.
He's listening.
Respect.
Yeah. So, are you ready for the first wager, Peach?
I am.
Okay. So, on our roster, we have a gentleman named Mo Bamba. And Mo Bamba has been a prolific shot blocker this year. He is currently 3rd in the league in blocks behind Miles Turner and Anthony Davis. He's ahead of guys like Giannis and Rudy Gobert. So, Peach, do you believe that Mo Bamba will continue this block spree and average 2.2 blocks in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games we have until our next episode?
I have already drawn an up arrow on my paper, which means I will be taking the over here on Mo Bamba blocks. I like a Mo Bamba block quite a bit. And I feel like there are some games where he may have 0 or 1, but there are games where he gets 4 or 5. So I like that to average out to over 2.2, even if it's at 2.5.
Yeah.
I feel good about the over here.
I mean, you could hit. You got to look at some of these. We're playing the Hornets tonight. They're kind of a smaller squad. He could get some blocks there. The 76ers and the Cavs are kind of knocked up. We'll see if they're at full strength when we play them. Same thing with the Nuggets. So he might be playing the Rockets. These going to be playing. Our caliber of competition is coming down a little bit from that hell spree, that hell road trip that we were just on. So I hope you're right, man. I would love to see some Bamba blocktastic games. What do you have for me, Peach?
Well, I don't know if you've heard of this guy named Chuma Okeke, but he's back.
I mean, Big Chum?
Yes. And he's delivering delicious buckets of chum for all the masses. He's averaging 11 points in the last 4 games. So on this one, it's the over-under on 11.5 points per game in the next stretch. He's getting some more minutes. He's becoming a key bench contributor. What do you say?
I'm going to be a shark, and I'm going to be all over the Big Chum right now. I think he's going to get over 11.5 points per game in this next stretch of 8 games. We have Cole Anthony already ruled out for tonight. Is he going to be out Friday as well for the Bulls game? knowing our team, we're not going to be in a rush to get him back. With Cole Anthony out, Jalen Suggs looking a little nicked up with just kind of minor wrist and ankle things. We need scoring. And he's been getting more minutes. I think he's going to go over 11.5 in the next 8 games.
I think you might be on the right side of this one because I like what I'm seeing from him. We haven't really mentioned it yet on this show, but I feel like he's one of those guys you can give the ball, legit clear everybody else out, and he can get you a bucket. Yeah. We don't have a lot of those guys.
No.
So as long as he can continue to get minutes with Harris or Cole not in there, and maybe he's getting more minutes in general because I think he deserves them, I think you're in good shape here, but we'll see how it pans out.
I'm hoping. And I'm hoping the sports books get on it so I can put some money on Chuma because they're just catching on. You know, he's just come back. I haven't seen many player props that offer him. Mm-hmm. And another player prop that I've been enjoying playing is Wendell Carter Jr., arguably our most consistent player, really the only guy I feel confident on what he's going to get in terms of numbers on a daily basis. So I'm going to go a combined points and rebounds over 21.5 because he's averaging 12.2 points, 9.3 rebounds, put them together, 21.5. Is he going to play over the back of his card in these 8 games, or is he going to play under
that? No offense to him, but I'm taking the under here. There's too many times that I look at the box score and see 9 and 9 from this cat. And that's 18 where I come from, which is under 21.5. So even if he has a big game in there, there's also going to probably be a couple of games where he fades. And honestly, 9 and 9 is not necessarily fading. It's just maybe not what we need to win games. But I hope I'm wrong. I want to see him get more into it and demand the ball and become a part of the offense. And I mean, heck, he's been hitting the 3 ball at the top of the key with some pretty good consistency. Yeah. And all it's going to take is a few of those a game to make me wrong, but I'm still taking the under.
Yeah. I think I saw something up until recently. I don't know if it still continues. He has the best 3-point percentage on the team or really close to that. I know you've been burned, Peach, on our first Kirk Cousins challenge with Wendell Carter's rebounds. And I feel like you're taking it out on him right now. I'm feeling good about where I'm at, but I do take your point. I hope the offense incorporates him a little bit more as we move forward here. I feel like what's great about Wendell is you don't need to, and he'll still get some buckets here and there. But I would love to see him as a focal point at some point, especially with Cole down. Can we move the ball inside out a little bit? You know, can we get to the paint penetration with just a pass? Can we pass down into the paint and see what he can do with it there, or get out for an assist? I think we're underutilizing Wendell Carter's skill set. And I think that Mosley would be a good idea to try to incorporate him a little bit more here.
Agreed.
All right. Last one for me, Peach. What do you got?
Well, you know, last show I talked about how important turnovers are, and you could see that any game where we had under 13 or under turnovers, we won the game. We are the 24th team in turnovers right now at 15.7 a game. It's too many. It's a lot. I'm asking you over under on 15.7 turnovers per game.
Yeah. This is tough. I think that, you know, in this instance, Cole being out may oddly help this because he's our second leading turnover creator behind Suggs, who's leading the team in turnovers right now. I just think that with a young team, we talked about the inexperience earlier, we got to get better, right? If I'm going to stay on the Sunshine Valley side of the bus, the thing I do want to see while I'm being fed losses is improvement. And I think anyone with eyes can see that the turnovers are really becoming our Achilles heel. And so I'm hoping to heck that it's a point of emphasis in the locker room and that it continues to improve. I think Jalen will improve. So I'm going to take the under 15.7 turnovers for these next 8 games.
All right. And now you've put me in the unenviable position of being excited about us having more than 15 turnovers a game, which I don't want to be. I'd rather lose this one and have us win some games and have less turnovers. But it is a point of emphasis that I need to get on. And I think you just said that you thought, well, it can't get much worse, but sometimes things got to get even worse before they get better. And the problem is I think sometimes our team plays very loose, which helps us. I think sometimes they look comfortable because they're loose, because there's no pressure on them to make a playoff run or do anything. They're expected to pretty much lose every game. So they're playing very loose. And when you play very loose, you turn the ball over. And I think that's what's happening. And I don't know if they're going to tighten it up in this stretch of games to get that back. I think maybe when the veteran leadership of Fultz and Isaac returns, then I could see us having less turnovers. But Godspeed to you. We'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, you're right, Pish. I don't like ending on our team turnovers to end the pod.
So let's not.
So with Turkey Day coming up, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone out there who has been engaging with the podcast. It's really been a lot of fun. Oh, look at that. And I want to especially thank you, Pish, for inspiring me to do this. You've always been one of my big role models in life. You have always been very hilarious, very outgoing, very creative. I've watched you from a young age do your TV shows, do your podcasts, and it's something I always admired about you, that is important to you and that you spend your time and your passion doing. So I'm just really happy to finally get to be involved with it and doing something that we really enjoy talking about, which is the Orlando Magic. So
wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I want to say thanks to anybody who watches or listens or gives us a like or a subscribe. It does mean a lot, not to us because we like to see that people care, but it does go to us trying to expand the show and put more effort into it and create new things. And we want to expand the show and start to get viewers involved. In the future, I want to get people involved in Magic the Card Gathering. I want you to submit ones that you want. We want to create a Patreon page where you can watch games along with us. We got big dreams and goals, and I'm thankful to have the opportunity to do that because people are watching. And I'm also very thankful to you because this was your idea. Let's be honest. This whole thing wouldn't be happening if you hadn't driven it and said, let's do it. And it is great to collab with you. I even like doing the prep for the show. We both come in with things we want to say or things we want to do, and we do a very good job. We don't argue or anything like that. We get along pretty well. We go, all right, this is good. And we can be very open and honest with each other about what's going on out here. And it's a pleasure to do it. So I thank you.
Well, I love being here with you, Pish. Thanks everyone for watching. If you've gotten this far, please like and subscribe to the channel. Reach out to us at @court_cousins, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, everybody. Peace.
Thanks for coming.